Hello. I'm back in my raincoat again. Why do you never seem to age? Because while all of you are busy aging externally, I'm doing the same thing internally. What was the last question that clearly was cut off of the end of the Q&A number 36? I wondered if someone wasn't going to ask about that. I presume you're referring to this. Splice it in here. Not exactly antediluvian per se, but that's got some years accrued, you know. Is that what you meant? Well, then by all means, play the footage and air the question in question. Why wasn't there any kind of memorial tribute video for, without being indiscreet, perhaps let's intersperse a photograph of the individual in question, a young punk rock girl who, well, let's be very candid, was murdered. So you see, that was the perfectly legitimate question. And what happened is, I went on to answer it at length until I reached a point at which my answer began to disintegrate because it got into much darker waters. So, to address the matter once again, the answer to the question is, I only became aware of this tragedy, this murder, after the fact. And in being made aware of it, realized that this was someone who I never knew, who I do not believe I even ever met. And now, of course, I'll never have the opportunity this time around. But you see, the thing of it is, when it comes to a memorial tribute, something that poignant, that personal, it really must be compiled by those who knew the individual, by those who have lost the individual in question. For a complete stranger, even with the best of intentions, to approach something like that is just, it's kind of inappropriate, possibly even offensive. And so at the risk of seeming insensitive, it was actually in the interest of being sensitive that we did not compile anything of the kind. Now, mind you, at the end of the year, this individual, of course, will be honored in the year in review memorial retrospect. And there are exceptions to this, of course, but overall, it's just not done for good, solid reasons. The derailment of my answer in that previous Q&A session was owing to the fact that I was made aware of this looking over the shoulder through an update from a local news station which put this information on an anti-social media platform. And in doing so, opened the door for commentary. Now, at face value, that's fine, because it permitted those who lost this individual to share in their remorse. For clearly this was someone who was beloved, someone whose absence is, well, well, let's put it this way. This was clearly someone who is irreplaceable. And it permitted those left behind to share in the sorrow and the heartbreak, and to share happier recollections, encounters in the past. But you see, it also opened the door to the general public. In this case, to that element out there which lives, apparently, for opportunities like these, to spew their toxic opinions. And this was no exception. I saw everything that ranged from who cares to judge by the photograph, she clearly had it coming. She deserved this. In seeing all of this filth, it begged a question of its own. That question being, how is it that you, that I, that we, the all of us, how is it that we find ourselves sharing this reality with that element? How is it that we breathe the same air as this invidious, insidious, iniquitous, loathsome species? How can this be? It's a question.